Hello everyone, I'm Nikita Achu Thomas, the managing partner of Kelachandra PVC pipes, fittings and polymers. On the special World Literacy Day, we're celebrating Kottayam's incredible journey from becoming India's first fully literate town in 1989 to reducing multi-dimensional poverty to zero, as reported by Niti Aayog. Education has always been the heart of our progress. In this context, we are highlighting architect Jeswin Verghese's remarkable contribution to the Akshara Nagari roundabout, a visual tribute to Kottayam's cultural and linguistic heritage. As a district blessed with abundant monsoons, water conservation has become a vital part of our lives, and we at Kelachandra are dedicated to ensuring sustainable practices through quality products. Let's explore the intersections of education, art, and sustainability in our journey towards progress. How do you think Kottayam's commitment to education, including becoming the first fully literate town, has played a role in addressing challenges like water conservation, especially given Kerala's heavy monsoons?
First of all, I am so proud to practice in Kottayam itself, where I am brought up, and I did my education in Kottayam itself. So it's my pleasure working in Kottayam, and Kottayam was so kind to me. First of all, if we talk about the literacy rate and being first fully literate district, people are so much aware about many things, like especially about if we are talking about water conservation and sustainability. People know about the importance of water, how they need to take care of sustainable materials and other practices from the concession period itself. So especially if we are talking about rainwater recharge systems and rainwater harvesting systems, uh, everyone is open for that. uh, till now there is no project which we haven't done anything like that. So in every project we will have a proper full size rainwater harvesting systems, and even for few projects we have done huge rainwater systems, which can cater them for the whole year.
Oh,
So
that's wonderful.
yeah, so such things, so people are so much open for that. Maybe the literacy rate, everything have contributed
To
towards,
this.
we can say that it's contributing towards the water conservation and sustainability factors.
That's great. So you mean to say that people are actually aware of these
Aware
concepts,
about these concepts, yeah.
and would you even say that people understand the value of water conservation?
Exactly. So uh, from the initial discussions itself, this is a point where we locate a particular area for all these systems. So we'll dedicate this much. So for every of our projects, we give a minimum of 40 to 50% of green space for every plot.
What was your inspiration for the Akshara Nagari roundabout, and how does it reflect Kottayam's legacy of literacy and cultural pride?
When we got this project, we thought we'll do some tribute to Kottayam. So initially, we had very weird idea of doing some random sculptures, but we ended up mixing all these letters. We call it Libi.
Okay.
Libi is Malayalam letters. So the combination of these letters came into like act as a handrail
Right.
throughout. You can see all the alphabets, all the letters in Malayalam throughout the roundabout.
Right.
And another thing is Kottayam had many like newspaper companies came very initially, and the press happened
In
in
Kottayam.
Kottayam.
Right.
So we have a very good history and background of these letters. So we wanted to project it somehow, and we made a abstract of newspapers.
Oh, okay.
So that's in the center of that roundabout. So it's done in cotton steel. It's again a natural material. It will get rust. The rust will like
Develop on.
continue. Yeah, throughout, and we have made all these CNC works on that. So it reflects the letters and the newspaper background we have in Kottayam.
Yeah, what I found really interesting was that you were able to bring about the culture of Kottayam and It was very fascinating how this whole thing was actually
Thank
done.
you so much. So we were so happy after seeing these CNC cuttings came into action. How it got reflected, how it can connect to people in Kottayam.
Got in. Yeah,
So it was a
very,
good.
very well connected. When I saw it for the very first time, I thought it was just apt, and it was right in the middle of the city when you just enter Kottayam, very rightly placed too. I thought it was great.
Thank you, thank you.
How do you incorporate sustainability, particularly in terms of water conservation, into your architectural designs, especially in a monsoon heavy region like Kerala?
So for in Kerala, we have a heavy monsoon climate, and all the designs we do is a tropical, a fusion of tropical, maybe modern materials. We might use modern materials, but always we try to incorporate tropical style to it. So it will have sloped roof, proper water collecting systems, the conservation systems will be properly taken care, and all the projects we try to incorporate a particular green space, especially for a tight site. Even for a tight site or a five cent or 6 cent site, we try to keep a 40 to 50% of green space inside or inside the site. So even we have incorporated large courtyards, and we try to merge outdoor landscape and indoor landscape into this architecture. The line between the landscape and the indoor spaces will
Very
be
thin
blur
line.
in all the designs we do. So if we talk about sustainability and water conservation practices, we try to incorporate maximum like permeable materials into the landscape areas. We incorporate landscape walls and green roof, like reducing the concrete content and incorporate maximum of green into the building. So all these practices we try to do in almost all our residential projects. And also we have few projects which we have done adaptive reuse. That's a kind of sustainable practice we try to incorporate. We'll preserve the old materials which might be already used in that site. We'll be like reusing it into a new building, into a new design, and in sometimes that will be the major element, the elevation element of that building. Few residences we completed in that way, in that sustainable aspect.
Did you do the same for your House of Volumes?
Exactly,
which we-
exactly. That was a project we did in Kottayam itself, and it had the site had a huge mango tree, and a 60-year-old ancestral house, and the client was so much into this area. Their memories, everything was roaming around this place, and they wanted to carry it into the new house. So we preserved all these roof tiles. We kept it aside, and we reused it into the elevation element, mainly elevation and functional element. You can see that because in patio spaces, in the master bedroom had a huge patio space. We tried to create a landscape wall with this old roof tiles which was already used in that house. So in that way we can add up to sustainability.
Okay. You had also won an award for that particular
Yeah.
project.
The first recognition we got for residential architecture was for that. So it's a very dear project to all of us here.
That's great. How do you see the role of education in promoting both artistic endeavors and responsible environmental practices such as water management?
So education actually encourages people to be into the sustainable factors. So especially about creative thinking, if we talk about problem solving skills. So another way how education can play an important role is through the community engagement. So people can involve in community based projects. They can do awareness about the water scarcity, the sustainability factors, and together overall we can say the education bridges the gap between the water, all the practical issues, the environment issues we face, and like in a more creative and innovative way.
The Akshara Nagari roundabout has become a symbol of Kottayam's identity. How do you envision its role in inspiring future generations to take pride in both culture and sustainability?
As we know, all the younger generation is moving away from the place they call home. We thought we should bring in something which connect to their home. So, if we think about Kottayam or their place where they born and brought up, even especially if we when we do all the residential projects, as I told, we'll try to connect it with nature and the environment where they spend their childhood, they spend their most of the time. Will be like a connection with the nature, as well as for them to be there in their hometown. Another way education can play a major role is through community engagement, where students can involve in real world issues and do community projects. So community projects through artistic way. If you see, there are architecture colleges and art colleges who really do community projects, public projects, creating awareness about a particular issue. They might be like creating artworks or temporary sheds or anything like that, which will create a huge impact in public. Even we have done a project in Kochi, collecting all the tires, tensile fabrics, from wherever we got, and we built a bus shed for that, a waiting shed for with all these things. So it's a first step of sustainability which we can create from the college itself. It can create a huge impact in the community regarding all these problems we face in our real world.
I've also seen the graffiti that was made, I think, a couple of years ago in Collectorate.
Okay.
On the wall, there is a huge graffiti which was made, and I think it is also extended up till the next bridge. There also, we've actually very beautifully done artwork based on plastic reuse and water conservation and things like that.
Okay.
So yes, I think community engagement is very, very
Very important, yeah.
important, and that's a beautiful point that you
And
actually.
it's good that students are into this from their early age itself.
Right.
So if they are guided in a proper way, they can create wonders in sustainability and all
Absolutely,
these things.
absolutely. Because I come from a school where we talked about sustainability and going back to the earth, and a lot of those practices. We've even gone out to save trees while we had exams in school.
Okay.
So yeah, personally for me, I understand where you're coming from, and yes, I think that is one of the things that today people want to do,
Exactly.
and we see that change in Kerala today.
Exactly. Yeah.
Can you share how your cultural approach balances Kerala's natural landscape, especially in terms of preserving water resources and promoting green spaces?
So, especially if I'm talking about Kottayam, Kottayam is the only place in Kerala where you can find this huge variation in land. So there is highland, midland, and lowland in Kottayam. So if we take particularly each areas, it will have different topography, and for us it's more than 6 months of rain, and the rest of the time is like there are places where they face a huge scarcity of water. So water conservation is very much important, and it differ from each place to place. Even in Kottayam itself, if you are talking about Kottayam, from our practice, we have done cottages in Vagaman and Munnar, where we haven't touched the ground. There are projects which haven't done any change in the topography, for even for the very steep the
Terrain.
slope terrain. And we are doing projects in lowland areas also, where we have given importance of the waterfront properties, the landscape areas. So our practice is a mix of tropical and a modern practice in architecture design, and we try to address the topography of each place, and we try to incorporate, and we do very less cut and fill in each site. So all the design will be climatic response as well as site responsive designs. They are customized for each site. So that's how we can contribute a lot to sustainability in terms of the construction practice.
That's great. That's wonderful, Jeswin.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so much. I've had a great time
Thank you.
spending time with you and for your great answers.
Thank you so much. Thank you.